Hey everyone, this is Pete, and welcome back to Atari ST A to Z, a series of short playthroughs of Atari ST games, some which I grew up with and some which are new to me. Today is one of the former. Today we're looking at Buggy Boy, which was one of the first games I played on the Atari ST, and one that still holds up pretty well today. It was originally released to arcades in 1985 by Tatsumi, and is known in some territories as Speed Buggy. Now, home ports of this game were released over the course of the following few years after its arcade release by prolific developer publisher Elite, with the 16-bit home computer versions for ST and Amiga coming in 1988. So a little bit late, but better late than never. The game stands out among other races from the period by placing an emphasis on relatively low speed but technical driving rather than bombing around a racecourse as quickly as possible. It was also noteworthy for including multi-leg point-to-point races rather than just straight circuit racing. The ST version is reasonably true to the arcade original, but it does lack the arcade original's multi-monitor widescreen setup. Notably, it also lacks the other buggies on the course as well, though these were always more sort of mobile obstacles than actual opponents anyway. This is one of the games I've actually got a physical copy of here. This is the version by Elite. Comes in this sort of double cassette box style case here. Let's have a look at the blurb. Use the joystick to select a course and press fire. The race begins. Drive your race-tuned Baja Bug along the racetrack, passing through gates and collecting flags for points. Time gates give you an additional 2 seconds on the next leg, so drive through them if you can. Collecting the flags in the specified order gives you extra points. Avoid hitting the fences, walls, trees, etc. as they flip your buggy over and slow you down. You're competing against the clock, so don't waste time. Push the pedal flat to the floor. Try jumping obstacles by hitting the logs that lie across the track. Show off your driving skills by running over molehills and tree stumps, tipping your car onto 2 wheels. See how long you can keep your buggy in this trick position. Fasten your seatbelt for the ride of your life. I find the blurb for this quite interesting because it's basically instructions for the game rather than sort of saying why you should buy this game. And there is actually a little instruction leaflet in the case as well. Let's just see what that has to say. Buggy Boy is the ultimate driving challenge. Be prepared for the bumpiest ride of your life over 5 of the roughest courses ever devised for 4 wheels. You must race across terrain littered with boulders, trees, brick walls and fences while following the rough outline of the track through narrow valleys, across even narrower bridges and through dark tunnels. Use your skills to dodge these obstacles or jump over them by hitting the logs that lie across the track, sending your buggy soaring through the air. Driving over tree stumps and small rocks will tilt your buggy onto 2 wheels, allowing you to squeeze through narrow gaps, but don't oversteer as you will lose control and return to 4-wheel drive. Yeah, okay. And then this is in a bunch of different languages as well. And it's a multi-format manual as well. So we got instructions for loading the Commodore 64, Spectrum, Amstrad and Atari ST versions here, so nothing about other versions as well, but basically all the major 8-bit computers that were getting games like this, so excluding the Atari 8-bit, which never got anything like this, and the ST version. So yeah, this is a long-standing favourite of mine from the Atari ST library, one of the first games I played on the platform and still one of my favourites. So let's go play Buggy Boy. Okay, here we are with Buggy Boy, one of the first games I played on the Atari ST, and still one of my favourite games on the Atari ST. Also one of my favourite arcade racers as well. I believe we talked about this a bit on a Moe Gamer podcast episode a while back when we talked about these games. Okay, so we've got 5 different courses to choose from. We've got Offroad, which is a circuit race, and then the North, East, West and South courses, which are all point-to-point races. That unfold over several legs. The off-road one you do several laps instead of several legs. So let's start with that one and I'll show you how this all works. So you select your course, and you push up to accelerate and the fly button to change gear, and then you drive. So as you drive, you'll notice there are these point gates that will give you points, obviously. And then there's these coloured flags as well. And if you collect the coloured flags in the order that is written at the top of the screen, you will get a bonus. If you collect them out of order, there's no penalty or anything like that. It just gives you a flat 30 points rather than the actual bonus. that you would get if you nabbed all of them. And those time gates when you complete a lap or leg on the course, oops, that gives you a bit of extra time over what you would normally get when you complete that lap or leg. Doing rather poorly at the minute. So there's your bonus, and while those flags are flashing, you can pick them up, and that will prepare you for another bonus. So while they're flashing those wild cards, you can actually try and pick up another 5 and get yourself another bonus if you want to. So I've always liked this game specifically because it's not super high speed. It's much more about this sort of interesting technical stunt driving and avoiding these obstacles that are littering the track. As you can probably see, prior to your arrival on the racecourse, apparently the delivery truck to the local garden centre has shed its load. Which means you're going to have to avoid as many of those things as possible. Now a lot of things will just slow you down, but you've probably already seen that hitting the logs will cause you to jump, which allows you to go over the top of certain things. And little lumps in the ground like molehills or tree stumps, they will put you up onto 2 wheels. I've never really known what the point of that is. In the manual it suggests that it's to allow you to fit through narrower gaps, but you're not really any narrower when you do that. I don't know if it has an effect on your score while you're doing that. In fact, let's have a look. Doesn't seem to. I think it's just a cool thing you can do. I don't think it's especially important or anything like that. Meanwhile, hitting that that football that I just hit, that will give you some points. That will have hurt me, that little encounter with those fences there. Oh dear. It's not good. But yeah, this is actually a decent conversion of the arcade original. Like I said, there is stuff missing. As I say, the original arcade version had other buggies that were racing around at the same time as you, and they got in the way and drove around and gave you a bit more of a feeling that you were participating in a race rather than a time trial. But I don't really miss them. Having tried the arcade version a little bit, I don't really miss them. I like the time trial feel of this, and I think it fits well with the emphasis on avoiding obstacles and collecting flags and weaving through the gates and all that sort of thing. I think it works well in that regard. Obviously the ST version doesn't have hardware scaling. Whoops. Never known how to avoid that. Doesn't have hardware scaling as the arcade version would have done. And so the illusion of stuff coming towards you is simply done through several different frames of animation on each of the sprites. You'll notice you can sort of see them jerking towards you almost. But it does the job. It's no better or worse than anything else that was around at the time. Yes, there maybe were some races that moved a little bit more smoothly or whatever. But for the purposes of this game's actual gameplay, it's perfectly adequate. Getting that, making good progress. over the bridge, around the rock. Oh, I actually avoided it that time. And then fell in the water. Always the way. Yeah, there's lots of things to like about this game. I like the variety of the obstacles. I like the fact that it has some actual proper 3D environmental elements as well. Like the tunnels and the wall that's at the side in that one. The arcade original has some banked corners as well. I can't remember if they're in this one. We'll try one of the other courses and see if there's anything like that in there. I have a feeling that's another element that would have been stripped out for this version. But there we go. That is the off-road course successfully completed. 5 laps of that. It's not super difficult to do that, so that's a good place. Excuse me. That's a good place to start with this game. Right, let's move on to North. I finished Off-Road before, but I don't think I finished any of these point-to-point races before, so let's just see how we get on. Because these are quite a bit more challenging. And because they are point-to-point rather than a circuit, you can't sort of... Whoops. You can't sort of learn the track on your first couple of laps and then use that knowledge to make your subsequent legs a bit better. You just got to keep going, respond to things as they come up, or indeed play the game lots of times and learn the tracks for yourself. That's a little beyond the scope of what we're doing today, but if you are interested in playing this game and getting the most out of it, that's what you'll have to do. Now, I have a feeling that wall we just went past was actually a banked corner in the original arcade version, if I remember correctly. It has been a while since I checked the original arcade version, so I could be wrong there, but... I do have a strange feeling that that's how it was. Okay, through the first leg. Now, if I remember correctly, I believe the scenery changes as you progress through these races as well, which is quite a nice touch. Oh no! Ooh, that was lucky. So I think that's why... That's why there tends to be a tunnel after a checkpoint. Because the tunnel allows you to do sort of fake a transition between the two areas. You can go into the tunnel, and then when you come out the tunnel, the background's changed. So, also the bridges perform that same function as well. You can see that we've now got green grass at the side of the track, rather than the snow-covered grass. And you probably saw at the end of our off-road race why score is actually important in this game. It's because you are ranked based on your score, not on your time or anything like that. You'll notice that there's no sort of actual lap timer or anything in this game. At the end of the game you get bonus points depending on how quick you were. And then that's added to all the points that you earned throughout the game proper as you went through the gates. And picks up the flags and got the flag bonuses and so on. And so if you want to prove your skills at Buggy Boy, you have to know how to score points as well as drive fast. Whoops! Although scoring a lot of points doesn't necessarily mean a lot if you can't make it through the whole course, because invariably, by not making it through the whole course, you won't make as many points, so it all sort of balances out, really. Oh no! Ooh, lucky. Thought I was going to go straight into that wall. If you hit the wall, you explode in the grand tradition of pole position. this. Not terribly, not brilliantly, and not terribly. Onto leg 4, doing pretty well. Into a tunnel. Haven't had a scenery change yet. Maybe I was imagining that. Or maybe it was just in the arcade version. I'm sure I remember that being a thing, though. Like, I'm pretty sure in the arcade version, the off-road course sort of changes time of day, because there's a tunnel on that allows it to do that sort of transition as well. Line of trees. I do remember that for some reason. Up on 2 wheels. Not where I want to be. Oops. Oh, this is awkward. This is very awkward. I'm going to run out of time here. Yeah, nowhere near the checkpoint. Well, there we go. That was the north course. Not a bad effort. And there you see you'll get some bonus points for the gates you pass through rather than the time, I think, from the look of things. But we still got a high score, so that's okay. I forget if this saves high scores. When I was growing up, we were... my dad was very paranoid about getting viruses and stuff, so he always insisted that we kept all our discs right protected. So in a lot of cases, I'm not actually sure if certain games had a high score save facility or not. A lot of them did, I've discovered in more recent years, which is cool, especially for games like this where there's such an emphasis on scoring. Tend to find a... Oh, there is a bank corner. There we go. Okay, I apologise for doubting you, Buggy Boy. Oh, should have gone for that time gate. On to leg 2. Did the background change? I actually wasn't paying attention. I was concentrating too much on trying to avoid hitting things. And then actually didn't pay any attention to whether or not the background changed when we came through that tunnel. So as far as I'm concerned, the only real downside to this game is that horrific engine noise. It's far from the worst I've ever heard on the Atari ST, but it's also... it also goes right through your skull after a little while. The other sound effects are good though, they do the job, and they're pretty authentic to the arcade version, especially the little musical jingles and so on. Those are all very true to the actual source material. Oh no, rock in the middle of the road again. Exceedingly unfair. Oh, piss. Oh, double whammy of incompetence there. One thing that is quite nice as far as the controls are concerned in this game is that you don't have to hold up. Oops. You don't have to hold up on the controller to maintain your speed. There's no sort of drop off of speed if you let go of the accelerator. You just keep going at that speed, which is quite nice. Whether you're playing with a controller or the keyboard or a joystick, that certainly makes playing this a lot more comfortable than it might otherwise be. Right, I'm not super hopeful about this, but let's see how far we can get. Let's concentrate on following the road. Don't go out of the way for flags. Get some time gates. Time gates are a good idea. Don't waste time going for pickups that aren't really necessary. Now the bridge coming up. Oh, and proper off-roading. I remember this bit. I also thought this was really cool because I'd never seen a racing game do this before. I mean, obviously it's not doing anything particularly special. All it's doing is giving you a green road. But I thought just the fact that they bothered to put that sort of attention to detail in there. Make it feel like you actually were driving off-road. That was a really nice touch. I don't think we're quite going to make it, are we? Oh, we might. Just made it. We're definitely not going to make it through this final leg, though. There's just not enough time. And that's definitely not going to work if I keep doing that. Banked corner in a really mean location. Over the top. Behind the rocks and the trees. And indeed everything else that's trying to kill you. It's not going to happen. "10 seconds. It's all over, really, isn't it? Oh, you know what? I wasn't that far off the end. I was not that far off the end that time. Some decent bonuses. It'll do. Another high score. How long will we be going? 21 minutes. I reckon we can fit the other two courses in there. Alright, on to West. Now, we just thought this one looked fairly easy from the track. From the map, rather. But I suspect we are probably in for a rude awakening at some point. I like this one because of the sort of city motif in this one. I like the idea of racing buggies around a city. Missed a time gate there. Oh, I can't believe I missed that one as well. Such an idiot. Such a massive idiot. But it's okay. Get this one. There we go. Got one at least. Well, there's the first leg down. It does change backgrounds. There you go. I wasn't making it up. See, now we're clearly in the upper class neighbourhood because look at those lampposts. Look at those lovely lampposts. This is a gated community if ever I saw one. Unfortunately, they do make racing through here a little challenging. And another change of background. Evidently leaving the city now. Onto the causeway over the river. Whoops! This is why I like point-to-point races, because when they're done well, they can give you a really nice sense of going on a journey. That's one reason I've always been very fond of the Outrun games. And one of many reasons why Burnout 2 is my favourite Burnout game. Because the way Burnout 2 is structured, you do a bunch of races in one area, a bunch of different event types. And then before you do the next set of races, you have a point-to-point race that takes you from the area you've just been racing in onto the next area you've been racing in. I always thought that was a really, really nice touch. That just gave the game world a really nice sense of coherence without resorting to being open world like Burnout Paradise was. Like, Burnout Paradise is cool, don't get me wrong, but Burnout 2 is still the best Burnout game. Don't at me and all that. Quite a lot of obstacles on this course. You might also notice that the corners on the course don't really match what's happening on the map either. See, on the map we're currently going around a left-hand turn. And now we're on a straight. As far as the map is concerned, we should still be on a straight. But we've gone on a little wibbly-wobbly path there. Now we are turning around to the left. That is correct, at least. But yeah, you should not be relying on that map if you want to see what corners are coming up next, because it's not great. Which is a shame. Because it was possible to do a mini-map like that. Like, a good example of it done really well is Checkered Flag on the Atari Lynx. That is a really good, really helpful mini-map. That is great for keeping an eye on upcoming corners. And figuring out whether or not you're going to need to slow down and how far ahead or behind of the pack you are. On to the final leg. Oh no. I suspect we probably haven't built up enough time to be able to get it all the way through this, but getting on to the final leg is not bad at all. Oh, should have gone round the fences instead of trying to weave through the middle of them. Oh no! It's all going very wrong. to the tunnel. Looking like we're going to finish by the beach. Are we going to finish so? That is the question. Over the strange blue patch of ground, whatever that's supposed to be. It's not water, because you don't drown in it, because water is bad in Buggy Boy. Oh no! Oh no! I bet the finish line was just over the horizon there. Not a bad effort at all, though. Just a few less crashes than we would have made that one. That's an enjoyable one, though. I like that one. The way that sort of takes you through a number of different environments. Alright, and let's try the last one, which was always designed to look the most intimidating with that sort of wiggly wobbly track. Starting in the city again. In fact, I suspect they're probably trying to make this look like you start this race where the last race finished. That'd be quite a nice touch. No way I'm getting that time gate. Through the tunnel. And the change of background again. On to leg 2. Notice there's no load times in this, which is nice. So once this game is loaded into memory, that's it, you can just play. Which is always the optimal way for arcade style games to be. And like even on modern platforms, some developers don't seem to get that. It's like if you have an excruciatingly long load time between every attempt at some sort of arcade style challenge, it makes it inherently less addictive. It makes it inherently less enjoyable for a lot of people. Oops, missed that one. Because you want to get people back into the action with minimal resistance. And of course, at the other end of the spectrum, there are people who've absolutely mastered that technique as well. I don't really like Super Meat Boy as a game, but in terms of mastering that instant restart, it is absolutely masterful. And that's one cool thing I find about a lot of indie developers these days, is that they are... Whoops! willing to take a lot of lessons from retro games in terms of look and feel, but not be afraid to incorporate modern game design techniques where appropriate. I don't know if I called not having load times modern game design, because obviously arcade games didn't have load times, but I don't know, the idea of creating what obnoxious marketing types like to call a frictionless experience is quite a modern concept. On to leg 4 with a reasonable amount of time on the clock. Sure we nab some time gates on this course, if at all possible. There's one. Oh no! The watery bits in this game just always fill me with just this sense of panic as soon as they come up. Because they're not really any narrower than the normal road, or the central bit of the normal road anyway. But just the fact I know you can fall off immediately causes me a certain amount of anxiety, and usually causes me to mess things up. Alright, into leg 5 with a reasonably healthy amount of time on the clock, and he immediately crashes into a rock. And by wasting some of that time that he's managed to build up. And a nice off-roady bit. Time gates don't really have any meaning on this last section, I don't think. Oh dear, one hell of a bumpy ride in this part though. I would like to get out of this area, please. It's not very nice. A tree right in front of the tunnel, that's just mean. Alright, this feels final. 22 seconds to go. Can we make it? I'm not hopeful. But let's see how we do. Oh, that was almost lucky. 10 seconds. Five seconds. Come on. Oh, he's done it. He's only gone and done it. There we go. You get time bonus followed by your gate bonus at the end. Whew, there we go. There we go, that is Buggy Boy. I mean, as I say, from a modern perspective, not the smoothest or the most technically accomplished racer that there is, but it's very playable, it's very enjoyable, it's a game I've always really, really liked. And yeah, I still return to this game today, just to have a play around now and again, just because it's such a long-standing favourite of mine, and I have such fond memories of it as one of the earliest games that I played on the Atari ST, so yeah, give it a go if you can. So it can be a little bit of a pain to emulate the arcade version sometimes because of the control scheme. So if you do want to give it a go, then yeah, the ST version is as good as any. So give it a try. I think the Commodore 64 version is supposed to be quite good as well. Someone who knows more about the Commodore 64 can probably tell me more about that. But yeah, I vaguely remember someone telling me at one point that the C64 version is a worthwhile experience. But the ST version is where my experience lies, so it's the ST version you get. As always, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you again next time.